Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out with the one and only Barry Jones. Barry, I know that you'll probably be talked out and also had a lot of questions thrown at you, so I'll try and vary them up as much as possible. So with that in mind there, first of all, speaking to Dewey Cooper in the lead up to this fight, he mentioned to me that it will be a more simpler game planning for Anthony Joshua than it was for Tyson Fury. Do you feel the same way?
So everyone listening, I've seen Spencer Oliver, man, Danny there, like, Danny boys, you good? See you later. Sorry, what was that?
It's all right, no worries. The question was that Dewey Cooper, Francis Ngannou's coach, said that...
I just called Spencer Fielder, Spencer Oliver. Sorry, Spence. Oh, Spence, man. Sorry, Spence. Sorry, mate. Punch drunk, you know.
One of those things. Maybe the Christmas hangover or the New Year's hangover indeed as well. But yeah, Dewey Cooper mentioned that he felt that the game plan for Francis Ngannou is going to be a lot more simpler against Anthony Joshua than it was for Tyson Fury. Do you feel that's the right way of thinking? It's going to be an easier way to fight Joshua than it was for Fury?
Well, on paper it is, because you know where he's going to be. With Fury, you're not quite sure where he is. But I think he's going to find it harder. This is going to sound crazy because Joshua's going to be in front of you, more or less. But I think he's going to find it harder to hit the target than he did against Fury. With Fury being his erratic style, which is what makes him so good, but also gives you an opportunity to hit him at times. And when he's on form, when he's sharp, he invites you to hit him. Or the Fury used to be more negative before he started pushing forward. He invites you to hit him, makes you miss, makes you pay. But he got it wrong. He was doing that, and with Ngannou, just kept throwing. Most boxers, when they throw and they miss, they don't throw another one. Ngannou just carried on, and I think that's what gave him the success against Fury. With Joshua, he's going to have someone in front of him, but someone who keeps his hands up high, keeps his elbows tucked in tight. So he's going to have someone there, but he's not going to see a massive clear target. He's going to have to punch through the guard. And that might just make him a little bit more tentative, trying to get him more accurate with the punches, which is what you should do. But when you have to think more, which he might adapt to it quite well, but I'm just saying, when you have to think more, that can sometimes slow you down. That's what Joshua's had that problem recently with overthinking stuff and taking away his acceleration of pacing his punches. So if he can, I think it's going to be a harder night for him. Most definitely, I do. That's what I think Joshua's going to win. That's why I think it's a harder night. But I think he might be surprised how much that. And certainly, if Joshua goes in the same veins he did against Wallin, that in and out movement that he has, I think Ngannou might find that a little bit of a problem as well. Because he's going to throw and not quite be sure where he is.
Seems like a clear positioning to get Joshua towards a Fury fight should Fury come through the undisputed title fight against Alexander Usyk, bearing in mind Francis Ngannou's plans to scupper that as well, though. But do you feel that if Joshua beats Ngannou, the perspective will start changing even further now towards Joshua, who is seen as the number 2 to Fury, and Fury being the number 1? With Fury's the way he performed against Ngannou, that might switch, and Joshua will be the favourite going into that fight if that's ever made.
Well, I think if Fury beats Usyk in any shape or form, then he goes in the favourite regardless, I think. And he should go in the favourite. Because over the last few years, he's clearly been the better fighter. That's the truth of it. But if you're only, I've said this the other day, it's been a bit pedantic, but if you're only as good as your last fight, who is the best heavyweight in the world? And generally, who is? Maybe you say Joshua, because he's had maybe the best performance, or would you say Joseph Parker? Because maybe he had the best performance, but then you wouldn't have put him in front of either of those guys, the top 4 or 5 anyway. Parker, now all of a sudden he's in an offering. Or Danny Dubois had a really good performance against Jarrell Miller, but how good is Jarrell Miller? It's that. So you have to judge the fight on his best versus his best. Fury might be on the slide. His last set of performance was against Wilder in Wilder 2, which was in February 2000. So that's a long time before you've seen your peak. The other wins he's had since then, Dillian White was on the slide clearly. Chisora was what it was, and so it's there's a lot you can take to give Joshua an opportunity. But then up until Joshua versus Wallin, and even the Fury who underperformed against Ngannou, you still thought Fury would do a job on Joshua because he lacked confidence. Now he's full of confidence. That's only one fight. So you can't judge someone on one fight, because otherwise we're saying Ngannou's a world-class fighter. And are we saying that? I don't know if we are. We sort of are, but with an asterisk of we're not quite sure how good he is, because we've only seen him against the heavyweight champion of the world who underperformed. But did he make him underperform? And then you can just You can split the narrative whichever you want to, but in reality is, no, you have to judge a fight on his very best, turning up at his very best. And if Fury turns up at his very best and Joshua turns up at his very best, then I still think you make Fury number one. I would say that much.
Going on to Ngannou, should he get the victory over Anthony Joshua, what do we say about Ngannou's title chances, a chance of claiming title? And also, Barry, you'd be able to give me a perspective on this as well too. What are we saying about this era of the heavyweight division?
Yeah, well, see, you got to, like, the first thing you say is, no way should he fight for the world title. This division's be poor if someone can walk in, but also, Ngannou could be just a freak of nature. He could be that guy who's just an all-time brilliant athlete. And he might be that, I don't know, and he might not, who knows. But I think this division it's been entertaining because I do genuinely think that it hasn't been the greatest of eras. But that's made it more enjoyable to watch. So we can't complain about that. We want you want a stand-up champion who dominates everything, but that's boring. You know what I mean? It is a little bit, isn't it? And then Fury's more hittable because he's more aggressive, but then we moaned about him when he was uber defensive. So the Klitschko win was a fantastic win, one of the best wins away from home by any fighter from the UK. It doesn't get mentioned enough because it wasn't a good fight to watch. It was a fantastic performance, which wasn't great to watch. So we forget about it. But then we all talk about Klitschko versus Joshua, who he had trouble with and he almost got beat because it was great because he had to dig in deep and stopped him. So, it's boxing's a funny sport that way, or we perceive how good fighters are on who they win, how they win. But really, it was just, if you keep winning all the time, like Fury is, good performance, bad performance, he always finds a way to win. So you have to make him the best. You have to until someone shows us he's not.
Barry, lastly, a lot of talk and murmur about Saudi Arabia coming in and being this new epicenter of boxing and what they're going to do for the boxing industry. I just wonder the ripple-on effect. Maybe it's making boxers, or maybe we want boxers to hold their position and wait for that Saudi payday. The way I want to ask this question to you is, if you were fighting in this area, if you were active in this area, would you wait for that Saudi payday?
No, you want to keep active, but if it's an opportunity, but also to say that if there's even an opportunity or a sign that you get to fight for huge money that'll change your life forever, then you're going to take it. You'd be a fool not to. And by the way, Saudi's just the new Vegas, which was the new London for fighters in the UK. And that you go where the money is, and the money is in the bigger cities, the bigger countries, and whoever got it at that time. And I'm sure in whatever many years' time, it'll be another region of the world who has the money, maybe America again, or maybe the UK again. This generation of boxing fans have been spoiled by the UK shows. But my generation, when I was a kid, all the big fights went to the States.